Welcome. Today we will delve into the mysterious world of Labynkyr, one of the largest and deepest lakes in Yakutia, where night turns into mystical darkness, and legends of Ulu Kukh are passed down from generation to generation. But what lies behind this dark surface and stars that smell of cold and ozone? In a brief moment of silence in the region, something elusive happens. As if a silhouette with a humped back rises from the depths of the water, moving without haste, as if measuring the space with its authority. At the same time, hundreds of kilometers from the shore, secret stories about traces, disappearing objects, and strange sensations create an aura of mystery that goes beyond ordinary explanations. Why do the night phenomena at Labynkyr raise so many questions? Could it simply be a reflection of myths and natural effects? Or are we dealing with something beyond scientific knowledge? Is the true stake in solving ancient legends or in uncovering unknown forms of life hidden in the icy depths? In this investigation, we connect disparate facts and legends to show you who or what might truly be lurking behind the night darkness of Labynkyr. Are you ready to see what is hidden beyond the edges of reality? Then let's begin. In the dark depths of northern Yakutia, where eternal frost and polar darkness reign for years, there exists a place that has long become a symbol of the mysterious, the unknown, and the mystical. Labynkyr is not just a lake. It is the soul of the Arctic region, deep and enigmatic, with its bottomless depth reaching nearly 200 meters, and its Arctic ecosystem, where every layer of water, every stone, and every living creature is imbued with legends and myths. Located in the Verkhoyansk district, this lake is one of the largest in Yakutia, covering over 530 square kilometers. In the harsh conditions of the north, where the sun sets only briefly and then disappears for weeks, nights become especially long, particularly in winter months when dark, dense gloom envelops everything around, transforming the surrounding world into a silent desert of mysteries. When night falls on Labynkyr, something special is felt. The black sky, filled with millions of shimmering stars that seem to smell of cold and ozone, is not just a celestial canvas. It is a living witness to the possibility that forces beyond human understanding may exist in this place. At such times, sounds almost disappear. Rustles vanish. Even the wind's noise ceases. Only the quiet, monotonous rustling of snow and the creaking of ice cracking under the weight of winter silence remain. In this realm of cold and darkness, it seems as if time stands still, and all that remains is a sense of one's insignificance in the face of the inexplicable. It is precisely on such nights that local Yakuts, guardians of ancient knowledge and traditions, tell stories of a spirit called Ulu Kukh, the Great Master, Part 2 of 8. These stories have been passed down from generation to generation. Semyon, the elder hunter, a man whose heart is filled with respect for nature, speaks of how, at night, when the world is either not yet awake or already asleep, something appears in the dark depths of the lake. He describes how a spirit comes to a place where silence reigns, where one feels rather than sees. Ulu Kukh is not just a legend, he whispers. It is part of us, part of this place that lives by its own laws. He loves to be felt, to have his presence sensed rather than simply seen. The locals tell of their own observations and encounters with mysterious beings, of tracks left in the snow, of strange sounds that defy explanation. Their stories lack scientific proof, no photographs or videos confirming the supernatural. There are only testimonies, irrefutable, personal, and emotional. People recount how one night in silence, they heard a loud rustling, as if someone or something was moving beneath the ice, and of tracks that disappeared as suddenly as they appeared. These accounts, which do not fit within the framework of modern science, become part of the myth canon of Labynkyr, a place where the line between reality and fairy tale is blurred. A place where, according to the elders, spirits and ghosts not only exist, but also control the fates of those who dare to enter their domain. However, this raises a question. What can we consider reality? Can we trust the legends and tales passed down through centuries? Or are they merely products of human imagination, born out of the harsh conditions in which the people live? Perhaps the nocturnal phenomena, the legendary Ulu Kukh, are just reflections of our fears, cultural archetypes, and myths? Or do these stories conceal real phenomena that go beyond the limits of conventional science? Maybe deep within Labynkyr, there are forms of life we only suspect exist, or unusual natural phenomena that are inexplicable from the standpoint of modern physics. These questions are not merely speculative. They form the basis of what makes this region unique. From time to time, evidence emerges that raises more questions than answers. Analyses and studies show that there are features in these places that cannot be explained by traditional science. Irrefutable proof suggests that phenomena occur in the depths of Labynkyr that go beyond our understanding. Perhaps it is precisely in these mysteries that the key lies to unlocking the secrets of human perception, the boundaries of our knowledge, and the forces that remain beyond the visible. Does anything truly exist beyond our knowledge and explanations? Could this place, this edge, be the key to understanding what lies beyond ordinary perception? How do these legends help us comprehend and accept the unexplainable? Perhaps it is myths, traditional narratives, that serve as a bridge between our dull, rational world and the vastness of the cosmos, its mysteries and secrets. They reflect our deepest fears and hopes, our desires to grasp what lies beyond the horizon of the known. Maybe it is through these legends and myths, through their symbolism and archetypes, that we can come closer to understanding what is truly hidden in the night of Labynkyr. Perhaps they hold the key to recognizing signs in reality, clues that we are not yet fully able to comprehend. And maybe it is precisely through such means, through myths, tradition, and faith, that we can learn to accept and respect the enigmas that nature presents us. After all, who knows? Beyond our knowledge, there may be something waiting for its moment to reveal itself. And perhaps it is exactly in the night at Labynkyr, in this bottomless, dark depth, that the answer lies. The question humanity has asked itself for centuries, still unanswered. That late evening, when the sun had long since disappeared beyond the horizon and the sky was painted in a deep, almost threatening shade of leaden gray, the photographer headed to the shore of Labynkyr. This shoreline was a place where nature manifested itself most sharply, where silence could seem dense, like a heavy blanket wrapping everything around. The wind had ceased, leaving behind only a faint rustling that could easily be mistaken for the sound of the surf, if not for the cold that pierced the skin and the scentless air, which created the impression that the air itself had become transparent and lifeless. In moments like these, it feels as if time slows down, as if the very air holds its breath, ready to burst at any moment. Armed with his camera, the photographer carefully walked along the rocky shore, his steps gentle to preserve the silence. He focused intently on adjusting the lens, listening to every sound, the soft rustle of water, the whisper of a branch, his own breathing. At that moment, when fingers covered with leather gloves touched the shutter, a strange sound suddenly broke the silence. Strange, because it did not resemble the noise of the surf or the rustling leaves. It was a low, powerful splash, as if something enormous and heavy had leapt out of the water with a force capable of shattering the silence. It was so loud that it seemed stones would crack and the water would stir from its shockwave. At that instant, the photographer's heart beat faster. His gaze darted to the water's surface. There, in the leaden darkness, a slow silhouette appeared. It resembled a large humped back, gliding slowly and unhurriedly across the surface. The movement seemed measured, as if the creature was exploring the space, as if it were part of this water, this silence, and this cold. As if it was gauging the boundaries of its existence, balancing on the edge of reality and illusion. Its contours were blurry, indistinct, like a reflection in water that refuses to fully reveal itself. But the most astonishing thing was the sound accompanying the movement. It was soft and deep, like something alive, not resembling a fishy rustle or ordinary water bubbling. It was a sound that was difficult to identify, and it seemed to be part of this creature, part of this night. Feelings overwhelmed him entirely. The physical sensation was tangible. His heart was pounding so loudly that it seemed someone far away could hear it. Cold, like an icy stream, seeped through the soles of his boots, piercing his feet and spreading throughout his body. This cold was not ordinary. It felt alive, as if someone or something knew about his observation, about his presence, and was demonstrating its power. At that moment, his consciousness was filled with the sensation that the creature knew about him, that it was watching, and that its movements were not just natural reactions, but a challenge, an invitation, or even a threat. In this silence, in this stillness, where every movement seemed deliberate and conscious, there was a sense that the boundary between reality and illusion was becoming very thin. What exactly are we seeing? What are we feeling? And can we trust our senses when everything around seems so unreal, so filled with mystery and danger? The central conflict of this story lies in whether we are encountering a real creature whose nature remains a mystery, or if everything we observe is a product of our mind, triggered by extreme conditions or internal states. Time seems to slow down. Darkness thickens, and the cold becomes more penetrating. In this state, where the boundaries of perception blur, the question arises, what is the truth? The reality of this moment, or just our perception, distorted by fear, fatigue, or perhaps an illusion created by the line between external and internal? Can a person in such conditions distinguish fact from fantasy? Or is it precisely in these situations that the true nature of being reveals itself, without embellishments, masks, or illusions? Moving on to the idea of trusting our senses, another question emerges. Can we consider our perceptual organs reliable tools that reveal the truth? Or are they merely bridges to our fears, expectations, and inner shadows? In conditions of extreme silence and cold, where each second feels eternal and every sound a witness to something unknown, the boundary between reality and illusion becomes so thin that one can lose their bearings. In moments when it seems that nature itself is speaking to you in the language of ancient secrets, the question arises, who is the observer here? Who is the witness? And can we trust what we see, hear, and feel when everything around seems so distorted, as if perception itself is just a play of light and shadow, an illusion created by our mind in the struggle for survival? This evening on the shores of Labynkyr is not just a random event. It is a confrontation between a person and the unknown, with what can shatter his inner stability, reveal his weaknesses, and at the same time expose the power of perception. In this confrontation, there is not only a physical boundary between humans and nature, but also a psychological and spiritual one, the line between knowledge and doubt, reality and illusion. Ultimately, leaving behind the cold shore and tranquil waters, we realize that the answer to what truly happened is not merely a fact, but a complex fabric of sensations, beliefs, and fears that cannot be unraveled without risking losing oneself in the labyrinth of one's perceptions. In the dark depths of this secluded area, where the river seems to live its own unpredictable life, mysterious stories begin to emerge, unsettling even the most experienced hunters and local residents. Their accounts are not just legends or fairy tales passed from mouth to mouth on cold evenings by the fire. No, their testimonies are facts recorded in memory, preserved in the silence and darkness that envelop this place like a dense web. And these facts, despite their apparent simplicity, demand deep analysis and investigation to uncover the truth. The first thing that strikes the eye is the descriptions of observations that are difficult to explain from the standpoint of ordinary biology or logic. Hunters, seasoned locals who have lived here for many years, tell of an unusual sight one evening. A figure resembling a bull's head, but with eyes unlike those of ordinary animals. These eyes are bright, shimmering, as if hiding something far greater than just an animal. And the most astonishing thing is that this head disappears, as if dissolving into the water in which it suddenly appears. The water, the very river flowing here through the ages, becomes the meeting place with this mysterious creature. But even more remarkable are the traces left by this phenomenon. Deep, massive dents on the ice and rocks, which show no signs of any known animal tracks, typical for this area. They do not resemble scratches from bears, wolves, or lynxes. These traces seem like symbols left by something that defies classification, that does not belong to the world of known animals. A woman named Agrafena, one of those who has lived here her entire life, describes her feelings very clearly and poignantly. She speaks of a sense of the presence of something large and dark looming over her, like a shadow that does not give her peace. This sensation is not merely fear, It is something deeper, encompassing the entire soul, evoking despair and simultaneously a sense of hopelessness in the face of the unseen and incomprehensible. Agrafena recounts how, in moments when she feels this presence, her heart beats faster, her breath becomes heavy, and inside her arises the feeling that before her is not just a natural phenomenon, but something much older, more powerful, and perhaps even intelligent. But the phenomena are not limited to visual observations. Time leaves its marks: torn fishing nets, disappearing objects, strange dents that do not match the footprints of animals familiar to this area. These traces are like mysterious messages from another world, left by those who have encountered this phenomenon. They appear unexpectedly and vanish just as suddenly, leaving behind only questions and a sense that the reality here and now is merely an illusion, hiding something else, unexplainable. However, despite all these signs, all these facts, and all the evidence heard and seen, there remains one important truth. Scientific proof supporting these stories is rare. DNA samples, photographs, debris, all of these are either missing or do not provide definitive answers. Instead, there are only rumors, unconfirmed accounts, and a feeling that behind every story lies something greater than mere coincidence. In this area, in this silence of the night, where everything seems etched into eternity, one mystery remains. Can these testimonies be considered real traces of something unusual, or are they the product of a collective myth born under extreme conditions and psychological stress accumulated by people living in this remote wilderness? It is easy to believe that fear is merely a product of the mind, that all these traces are just figments of imagination, that the night wind and the sound of water create an illusion. But analysis shows that, although not scientifically confirmed, these testimonies remain undeniable for those who have seen and felt them. There is something real in them, something that defies ordinary explanations. And it is this uncertainty that makes this mystery particularly intriguing. Could reality be different from how we perceive it? Could there be something beyond our usual knowledge that leaves its traces in the heart of this bleak and cold nature? And if so, what is it? Where is the line between myth and reality? These questions remain unanswered, leaving us on the verge of a discovery that could forever change our understanding of the world. In a world where the boundaries between the known and the unknown blur at the edges of human perception, there exists an endless flow of mysteries that challenge the foundations of our understanding of reality. These enigmas are like shadowy figures flickering on the periphery of consciousness, evoking simultaneously awe and doubt among scientists, explorers, and ordinary people alike. They give rise to myths, legends, and theories that attempt to justify the invisible, explain the unexplainable, or hide behind the facade of scientific hypotheses or mystical beliefs. But what lies at the core of these phenomena? And how much can we trust our senses, our observations, our interpretations? Some researchers who delve into the most extreme conditions of nature, into the depths of the Arctic or the bottomless lakes hidden beneath layers of ice and dark waters, suggest that many of the strange visions, sounds, or sensations reported by their participants are not necessarily objective realities. They may be the product of hallucinations caused by hypoxia, extreme temperatures, or concentration disruptions. Acoustic effects created by unusual layers of water or ice can distort sounds, making them resemble voices or screams that are not actually present. Optical illusions resulting from the peculiar refraction of light in icy or watery layers can produce illusory figures or shadows that are easily mistaken for something more mysterious and inexplicable. But should we completely dismiss the possibility of the existence of unusual life forms in conditions previously deemed uninhabitable? In the depths of Arctic lakes hidden beneath thick ice and within the bowels of vast icy fields, there are theoretical hypotheses about organisms adapted to extreme environments. Their existence has not yet been confirmed experimentally, their traces remain invisible to our technologies, and their forms are subjects of speculation and scientific hypotheses. However, from a scientific perspective, such ideas do not seem fantastical. After all, Earth's history is full of examples where life, seemingly impossible, found ways to survive in the harshest and seemingly inaccessible conditions. And here arises another, no less important thought. Myths about the Great Keeper or mysterious beings that supposedly govern nature or hide within the depths of earth and water are not merely fairy tales for children or legends for elders. These myths, according to some researchers, serve as a kind of social mechanism that reinforces ecological balance and the boundaries of human intervention. Many cultures hold a belief in such forces. They guard the borders of nature, remind us of the limits of human interference, and serve as a reminder that beyond our understanding, there are forces not to be trifled with. In this sense, a myth becomes not just a fantasy, but a tool regulating the relationship between humans and nature. A kind of internal code indicating where their territory ends and the unknown foreign land begins. But even more profound and seemingly more scientific is the psychological aspect. Perception of any phenomenon, whether a strange sound, an unclear shadow, or an unusual sensation, is inextricably linked to our internal state. Fear, expectation, cultural narratives ingrained since childhood shape a special reality that becomes inseparable from observable phenomena. In moments of extreme conditions, the human brain tends to seek explanations, to ascribe meaning to inexplicable phenomena, turning them into parts of a larger picture. This psychological mechanism, an inherent part of human nature, is capable of creating illusions that are perceived as reality. Eyewitness testimonies and their accounts, sometimes contradictory and subjective, become part of this complex system where truth and myth intertwine and reweave themselves. The main question remains open. What is truly happening? Are these phenomena manifestations of an objective reality hidden beyond the boundaries of our senses? Or are they merely reflections of the human psyche, its fears, expectations, and cultural narratives? Perhaps beyond our perceptions, there exists an unknown truth that we are not yet able to grasp. Maybe these phenomena are nothing more than shadows cast by the human inner world onto the wall of reality. Or conversely, they could be the key to the true nature of the world, which we, in our limitations, cannot yet comprehend. This question, about the limits of perception, the nature of myth, and the role of the human psyche in shaping our reality, becomes central to our investigation. It haunts scientists, captures the imagination of researchers, and challenges all our notions of what is possible and impossible. Is it possible that beyond our senses lies a different, more complex, more mysterious truth? A truth that eludes our usual ways of perception, existing beyond myths, illusions, and scientific models? And could it be that this invisible, elusive truth holds the key to unraveling the most enigmatic phenomena that remain unexplained to this day? Those that dwell on the border between reality and imagination?